Hello everyone, welcome to my videos on elementary differential equation. This is video number 6 for chapter 6, and the topic for the chapter is system of two linear differential equations. In this video, we will derive a solution algorithm for a 2x2 system of linear equations, homogeneous one. Okay, so in the general setting, we consider the following initial value problem. So the unknowns are x1 and x2, and then we have x1 prime equals ax1 plus bx2, x2 prime equals cx1 plus dx2, and we have no other terms. It's a homogeneous equations, and then initial conditions are given at t equals 0. And then for x1, it's x1 bar, and for x2 is x2 bar. And it's convenient to write this into a matrix vector form as follows. X vector prime equals A matrix times X vector. So here the X vector is just the vector containing the unknowns, x1 and x2, and the matrix A is the matrix of the coefficient. Here would be A, B, and C, and D, which one sees here. And then the initial conditions will be given as a vector. X vector at 0 is this vector, x1 bar and x2 bar. We now make a claim, which is very important. Now, if lambda V is an eigenvalue and eigenvector pair for the matrix A. And here we are talking in the general setting. Then one can define a function z vector valued to be e to the lambda t, which is the scalar value, times v, which is a vector constant, the eigenvector here. Then this function z equal to that is a solution to the system of ODE x prime equals ax. Okay, so here we are just talking in the general setting that if you find this pair, which is an eigenpair, and we know for the A matrix we could have multiple eigenpairs depending on the property of the matrix. Okay, and that comes later to be useful. Okay, let's take a look at the proof, which is just like a two-line proof. Okay, so we know that we want to show that z is a solution to this problem, which means we want to show that z given like that satisfies z prime equals a times z. So let's look at z prime. What is z prime? So z is this function, so we take this function, we differentiate it with respect to t. And then we see that v vector here is a constant vector, so we can take it out, and we just need to differentiate the exponential function. And then the exponential function is, you differentiate in t, you will just get a lambda in the front. So you get lambda e to the lambda t times v. So that is z prime. Okay, now we compute the right-hand side of the equation that we want to show. That is a times z. What will that be? So let's do that. So a times z is a times, plug in the z value, exponential function times v. So here in this expression, this is a vector, and this is the scalar multiple, and this is a matrix. And then we know that the scalar multiple can be moved around. So we can move this all the way to the front, and we can do a times v first. And now we use the important property, that is lambda and v is an eigenpair. Okay, lambda is an eigenvalue and v is the corresponding eigenvector. Therefore, a times v equals lambda v. Okay, so we'll have e to the lambda t, lambda v, where these two are just scalar numbers. And then comparing the right-hand side of these two expression, the calculation we did, and we see that they are the same because the multiple of two scalar numbers, you can change the order. Okay, therefore we show that z prime equals to az, and then z is a solution. Okay, with the claim proved, we are now ready to design an algorithm to solve the initial value problem. Okay, so first step, find the eigenvalues of A, call it lambda 1 and lambda 2. So here we are focusing on a 2x2 system, homogeneous. Now step 2, we would need to find the corresponding eigenvectors. Let's call it v1 bar and the v2 bar. Now using these two eigenpairs, we can form two solutions, where z1 is using lambda 1 v1, which we just shown, it's a solution, and z2 is e to the lambda 2t and v2. The next step, we need to check if the solutions z1, z2 are linearly independent. That can be done by verifying the Wronskian, which is the determinant of this matrix, to be not zero. Okay, so this step in the end actually will not be in your algorithm, because we will make sure that they are actually linearly independent. And in fact, if lambda 1 is different from lambda 2, then these two solutions are linearly independent. And next step, we will use these two solutions to form the general solution. So the general solution will be a linear combination of z1 and z2. And finally, if you shall have initial condition given, x as 0 is given, then you would use that to determine the coefficients c1 and c2. Okay, so this is like a general guideline recipe, and there are different details that will make your actual calculation very different. And the important feature or property that will determine how your solution will be the eigenvalues, if they are real or complex, if they are distinct or repeated, and that makes a big difference. Okay, and we'll now take examples in this video and the forthcoming videos to go through these cases. Now let's take our first example. We want to solve x prime equals ax. A is this matrix 1, 1, 4, 1. And if you watched the previous videos where we went through a review of matrices and eigenvalues and eigenvectors, we did take this A as an example. Okay, so the first step is to find the eigenvalues and the eigenvectors of this A matrix. So as I said, using a previous example, we can just copy, otherwise we'll just carry out the calculation. Okay, so this calculation could take a bit work. So lambda 1 we know is -1, lambda 2 is 3, and the v1 is 1, -2, and the v2, I'm sorry, it's a v2 here, is 1, 2. Okay, and this is done already in the previous example, so we just like borrow it. Okay, and then we can use the our recipe to form the general solution. X would be a linear combination of the two solutions. So C1 times the first solution is using lambda 1 and V1 in this form, and then the second one is C2 times this solution using lambda 2 and V2. Okay, and we can put in the values of these lambda 1, lambda 2, and v1, v2, and have the following: c1 times e to the -t, taken from here, times the vector 1, -2, and c2 times lambda 2, which is 3 here, times v2, which is this one. So if you're not familiar with a vector form of writing the solution, we can also write it out in components. That is, we can write out the function x1 of t and x2 of t. x1 is the first element in this vector, which means you would take the first element here and the first element here and form it. So you have c1 e to the negative t times 1 plus c2 e to the 3t times 1. It's just that one. And then for the second component, x2 of t, then you would take the second component of these two eigenvectors. Okay, so therefore for this one you will multiply with negative 2, and then for this one you multiply with 2 and you add up. Okay, so now let's look at qualitative properties of the solution as time goes to infinity asymptotically. I repeat the solution in components here. So the behavior will depend on the constants c1 and c2, if they are present or not, and as well as the sign of them. So first we observe that when t goes to infinity, the exponential with the negative coefficient in the front, the first term here and the first term here, will go to 0. And the other exponential term with the positive 3 in front of t, the magnitude will grow into infinity. But if it goes to plus infinity or negative infinity, it will depend on the sign of the constant in front. Okay, so the first case is if c2 is bigger than 0, then x1 will go to plus infinity and x2 will go to plus infinity. And then second, if c2 shall be a negative number, then they will both go to negative infinity. It would also be interesting to see the asymptotic relation between the two solutions, x1 and x2. So let's look at the ratio x1 over x2. And we put the x1 here and we put the x2 here. So we see that as t goes to infinity, and these two terms go to 0, very, very small. And then the ratio will be dominated by just this term. Okay, and then e to the 3t is not 0 and c2 is not 0. They can be crossed out and we see that the ratio is 1:2. So this means asymptotically the value of x1 will approach the half of the value of x2 as t goes to plus infinity if c2 is not 0. So if c2 is 0, then this term is just 0, then that's a different situation. Okay, now let's also look at the property for the other case, that is when t goes to negative infinity. So assuming you can solve the problem reverse in time, you want to know long time ago what was the solution that eventually now becomes the value I am now. And let's look at the asymptotic behavior of the relation between x1 and x2. Okay, so a similar calculation will tell us that if you look at the ratio, then because these two terms will go to 0 really fast, therefore it's dominated by the first term. Because when t is negative, then negative t is a positive number. Okay, and then we can drop these constants and the exponential ones, and then we only have negative 1/2. So this means x1 will approach negative half x2 asymptotically as time goes to negative infinity. Now all these behaviors are much better illustrated for 2x2 system in a thing called the face portrait, which we will talk in the next video. We will go through the definition of that and draw it for this example and then look at other examples. Okay, so that's all I have to say for this video, and I'll see you next time.